when did the light bulb go off for you that you were gonna start kind of open sourcing your business and showing people like beneath the hood of what you were doing?
Yeah, basically from the beginning.
Really?
Um, Going back to Packy, I kind of he built in public and all of that, so I saw it work for him and thought this is an interesting strategy for me to take as I'm getting the brand off the ground. I also thought like people are weirdly secretive about their numbers. Like I don't know what someone's going to do by knowing like what my revenue was in month two. Like, oh, you're going to go start a creatine gummy brand. That's fine. The people that I'm worried about are not like looking at my tweet and going to start a creatine gummy brand. It's like, no, they're already a industry insider that has the ability to make creatine gummies and can like roll this out amongst distribution. I'm not influencing those people. Likely influencing someone that is not already in the space, and a rising tide lifts all boats. So if they kind of want to join the industry and start their own thing, great, more power to them. But like 99.9% of people aren't going to read the ins and outs of my business and be like, you know what I need to do? Go start a creatine gummy brand. So I don't view it as like really by me sharing. I don't view that as me increasing the level of competition. I view it as potentially, you know, inspiring. It's not the right word because that sounds self-impressed, but like um, maybe letting someone else know that like this is possible. I can also do this because this guy's sharing all of his numbers and how he's doing it and all of that.
Mm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, how do you share in a way that you feel like you're providing value and maybe not like I feel like it's easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna like share my story and maybe like like not really knowingly undershare
Yeah.
or overshare. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really know if there's a world where oversharing is a thing from your perspective, but I'm curious how you think about that.
No, I definitely think about the right level of sharing a lot, not in the sense that like I'm worried that I'm going to overshare information, in the sense that like I'm just sharing numbers and like is anyone actually going to get value from me sharing numbers? Like, is there anything actionable in what I'm sharing here? And so I try to infuse the way this manifests is essentially like on each month I'll share kind of a few metrics on the previous month's performance, some learnings, some tactics that I took. But like I have seen myself over the last couple of months as the business has grown get away from sharing things that I think would actually be helpful for people.
Mm.
And so I just kind of need to relearn at this stage what I think would be helpful for people, versus like when I was first getting started out is very tactical of like, oh wait, this is would be super helpful to know if I wanted to start my own
Totally.
thing.
Yeah, it's like what you know seems so intuitive to you, but if this was you 24 months ago, you would have killed for that information that's just like kind of lodged in the back of your mind. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, you guys were just touching on a little bit, is what do you think it is about human psychology that makes us almost addicted to this concept of building in public? The reason why I asked that is there's this brand that we go back to, Midday Squares, all the time, the chocolate bar
Yeah.
company in Canada, and those three co-founders are unbelievable. We met Jake at a Central Market event in Texas, and we're like just blown away by him. But one of the things that he mentioned to us is that the first hire they made as a company was a videographer.
Yeah.
And they've constructed in a way where they're very publicly going at Mondelez's throat, and they document everything. They document fundraising, getting into retail stores,
Yep.
them crying when something happens. And it's like you almost buy into the founders as the hero of the story. And it's like I find myself almost addicted, wanting to follow along to it and rooting for them.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what do you think it is about human psychology that makes us addicted to the building in public concept that so many creators have been running towards?
Yeah, I mean those guys are another level.
They
They're
are.
they're
Yeah.
epic. I wish
Legends.
I had that level of transparency in what I was doing, and honestly, the energy required to put out
It's
that
a lot.
level of content. Um, what I think about human psychology as to why, honestly, I think most people don't have that. I think like a very small percentage of people actually have the energy and courage and uh, uh, are able to strike the balance between it being both something that like people can find aspirational, but also not find cocky. And like,
Mm.
I actually don't think it's in people's natural tendency to do what those guys are doing. I think
Mm.
it's exceptional what they're doing. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
wish I had a better answer
No,
other than to
it's
say I don't think the premise of the question is right.
it's great. No, I think it just makes you relatable too, right?
Yeah,
It's like I think a lot of people, if they're viewing your content or maybe some podcasts in this show, it's like a lot of them are aspiring CPG founders or creators, and they want to understand like what is your mindset like when shit is hitting the fan, when you stock out of supply and you're trying to figure out how a manufacturer can come in and get you those orders. Like, how
yeah,
do you deal with those situations? So the struggle is always how do I publicly tell those stories? But if you can do it in a right organic way, like that's such powerful alpha for a lot of people.
Yeah, those guys are interesting because they've taken the build in public to kind of like the mass market.
Yeah.
Like when I'm doing it, it's almost to build credibility within like the very small online, chronically online, like Twitter community of
Hmm.
other CPG people that like congratulate me when a month is good. When they're doing it to sell like tens of millions of chocolate bars because their videos scale like really well on YouTube and consumers can make the connection between them building in public and then building or buying their chocolate. So I don't know. They're doing it on a whole nother level. They're
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. It feels like the line between being incredibly emotionally secure and insecure when you're building in public has to be like very thin.
Totally.
Like you're either like a rock and you can just share it all, or you're just like, fuck it, I'll just, share everything and see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I mean, building in public is super fun until like your numbers aren't good, like or
Yeah.
like shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
But also you can turn that on its head too, and I'm sure those guys have done a really good job of it when there are trials and kind of the troughs
Mm.
and success. If you're able to turn that into a story where people can, as you said, see their own selves in that story, I think that's a good opportunity as well.